Please put your hands together. Go crazy. Please welcome our next storyteller, Greg Quiroga, everyone. Greg.
We're allowed to touch the mic. Back in 7th grade, I loved eating competitions. I'm sure that most 12-year-old boys would say the same, but for me it went much deeper than that. See, my family was poor, and while I never starved, I seldom got to eat as much as I wanted to. So eating competitions were as much about eating as they were about winning. And by the time I was 12, I had a couple of career-defining highlights under my all-you-could-eat belt. I had set the record for the most tater tots eaten in a single lunch in the school cafeteria at 42. And at my friend Patrick's birthday party, I had out-eaten everyone, including Patrick's 17-year-old brother in a chili cheese dog eating competition. So when I found out that there was going to be a pumpkin pie eating contest at the community center one fall afternoon, I hopped on my bike, rode straight to the center, and paid my $1 registration fee. When the time came, we all took seats at this long table set up facing the assembled crowd of about 75. We were given a knife and fork, a napkin, a little tiny paper cup, and a pitcher of water and these instructions. Finish first, or eat the most pie in 10 minutes, and you win. To the left is my buddy Taro, and to the right is another girl from our grade, Karen Kumpula. Now, I gotta tell you guys that looking back, I feel for Karen and her family. I have spent my career building up a life where I raise money for people in need, but 12-year-old boys are dicks. And I was a poor 12-year-old, and I took comfort in finding people who had it worse off than me and identifying them. And while my family may have been poor, we were only food stamps poor. The Kumpulas were government cheese poor. Their family, she had tattered hand-me-down clothes and a haunted, hollow look that spoke of a lifetime of want, and there was no way I was losing to her. They bring the pies out and they set them ceremoniously in front of each and every one of us, and they blow the whistle, and it is on, and I am stoked. I mean, I've got a whole pie all to myself, and I dig in with a fervor, and I discover pretty quickly pumpkin pie doesn't like to be eaten fast. Sure, the filling, it's soft, but it's also really gooey, and it coats your throat as you swallow it, and every bite makes each subsequent bite that much more difficult to swallow. And so I establish a rhythm of every other bite, I take a sip of water, and that's helping wash it down. And so in the first 3 minutes, I managed to hammer out almost half of that pie. And I quickly realized that I'm in a marathon, not a sprint, because it only gets tougher from there. And every subsequent bite is going down with more difficulty. And as I start to get near the 3/4 mark, I start to scope out the competition to get a feel for where I'm at. My buddy Taro to my left is done. He's prefacing each and every bite with, "No way, no way." Up and down the line, all the other 12 and unders are so far behind that they are nothing to be concerned with, except Karen. Karen is amazing. Karen has foregone her utensils, and Karen has her head down sideways at the pie, and she is using her hand to shovel fistfuls of pie into her face, and she is slamming them down, and she is right there with me. We are neck and neck, and now we're in this 12-year-old slow-motion horse race, where each of us is just putting pie in our face and trying to get to swallow it down, and it's getting more difficult with each and every bite. And at a certain point, I realized that all I have to do is stay one bite ahead of Karen, and I win. Whether it's finishing or timing out, So I'm keeping a steady eye on Karen, and we've got 5 or 6 bites left when it happens. Karen puts a bite of pie in her mouth. She chews it up and she swallows it. And then her body rejects it with a soft-spoken, "Ugh." And it lands square in the middle of her pie tin. And my first thought is, yes, I got this. She is done. I win. And I turn back to my pie to cement my win, but out of the corner of my eye, I see movement. And so I look, and I catch Karen showing me what true commitment is. Her head is down near the pie tin, and she's scooping up the once-eaten pie. And at that moment, our eyes lock. And she is like a great white shark, prehistoric, unseeing, not concerned with time or space or a silly little thing like somebody else seeing her eat her own vomit. And she gobbles up that piece of pie that she'd already eaten. I push back. Done. Beaten. Trying not to throw up my own pie at that point. I would not be able to eat another bite of that pie. In fact, that was in November of 1981. I have not eaten pumpkin pie since. All I can do is try to breathe and watch as Karen goes on to eat the rest of her pie, uneaten and otherwise, and claim her rightful title. And at the end, I have eaten enough to get second place. And at the award ceremony, I am given my prize, 1 pie. Karen, who finishes first, receives her prize, 2 pies. And every year since, at Thanksgiving, this has come up again. And every year at Thanksgiving, I am reminded of what true commitment looks like. And I can't help but wonder if somewhere out there, Karen is sitting around the table with her family, still able to enjoy pumpkin pie.
Keep it going for Greg. Give it up for Greg.